Esmeralda. Welcome to my YouTube video. Today I'm going to actually be talking about my 5 absolute favorite of all time children's book that I used to read when I was young. So these were my ultimate favorite ones, and yeah, I just needed to tell you guys about it. Now I am having some tea right now. I'm having a little bit of a sore throat, but not to fret, I got my tea, I'm all fine. And by the way, I got this mug at Myers. I found it Nightmare Before Christmas. Those people that really know me, you know I am obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas, obsessed with Harry Potter, even obsessed with Dr. Seuss. But yeah, so I decided to use my mug today. And I put some nice little mint tea, which is really helping out a lot. So I'll probably be sipping on this while I'm doing my video. Sorry about that if it annoys some people, but I just need my tea. So let me begin. Actually, before I start, I must tell you guys, for all those viewing right now and watching this video and are probably my dear friends and family, know that I love Dr. Seuss, but in this particular occasion, I will not be talking about Dr. Seuss. I'm actually going to save that for another video because since I love a lot of their books, I will just make a video about that and I'll talk about which ones I liked, which ones I didn't, my collection, well actually it's now my child's collection, and how I even got into Dr. Seuss in the first place. Watch out for that video. It will be coming up very soon. Now the reason why I'm making this video just now is because a lot of these books I was slowly starting to get back because I did used to actually go to the library either through my school or through my public library and used to actually, you know, check them out pretty often. So often that I sometimes used to just, instead of checking them out and the librarian looking at me kind of funny like, this is the 5th time you are checking this book out, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have mind. They already knew me there, but yeah, I actually used to just chill and relax at the library and I quickly read it before I had to head back home. So yeah, it's something I used to do. So that's why I keep coming back to these particular books, because these books I just absolutely, the moment I read them, I just wanted to read them at least once a month again. Like it was a constant thing. And I slowly, like I said, started building them back up. Either I found them at online at a vintage shop, or I used to get them at the garage sales and rummage sales. But let me just start with this one. So this is Sammy the Seal. This is my number 5 pick. And it's Sid Hoff. And it's basically about, let me show you guys the front page, just kind of how it looks. It's a really cute, easy read. This is like for a beginner in reading. And I want to say I was in 3rd grade when I read this. I was kind of a slow reader at first. I was more into the pictures, so I used to just look at the pictures and imagine what the words would say. I don't know if you guys ever did that. I know I did. I used to, especially if there were some very hard books, but it had tons of pictures, I would just flip through the pictures and imagine, ooh, I bet this happened and I bet that happened. So yeah, I had a love of books since I was a really teeny weeny little girl. But yeah, so this one is actually about a seal, and it's about how upset he was living at the zoo. And yeah, so he basically wanted to know what's out in the world beyond the zoo life. And if you are interested in actually showing this to your little kids, it's a really great read, very easy read actually, and now keep in mind this is a vintage book. I did get this one, I believe, at a rummage sale, or it could have been a book that my mother-in-law gave me that she passed on from her, from my brother-in-law. My little one, my little brother-in-law. So yeah, I cannot remember, but I know I got it somewhere there, somewhere in one of those two. But yeah, so of course there's going to be some damage to the front, you know, right in back of the front cover. But other than that, the book is pretty much spotless. Like it's pretty nice. Now, of course, you could tell this book is so old because the papers and the pages are starting to already look basically pretty vintagey, which actually I don't mind, to be honest with you. I really don't mind. But yeah, so the colors, this was the colors that it had, and it just basically talks about the seal and how he was talking to other people about what he was feeling about the day-to-day life. And it's just him exploring outside and going to an elementary school and visiting new kids and just kind of exploring until finally, you know, he decides to go back to the zoo. So it's just this little adventure, and it's, like I said, you guys, it's a great read. I loved it. I kept reading this because it was just, every time for some reason, whenever I see picture books, and I would read them when I was young, I used to try to see if I could see something new in the pictures. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm weird like that. I love this book. This is my number 5 book. And this is my number 4 pick. And it says No More Monsters for Me by Peggy Parish. Okay, and this is like a young reader's book. I believe, okay, yeah, it says here, beginner 1 reader book. I found this a couple, I would have to say maybe about a year or 2 ago. I refound this book in great condition, and I want to say I bought this one in eBay. So I was like, yay. I know some people are like, well, why didn't you just go to your Barnes & Nobles or an Amazon? It's just sometimes when I would go check, they would be sold out, or I was just like, you know, I don't know. So, and I figured why not get something that's already been used, kind of give you that more vintagey feel for it because it's been so old, even though this actually was practically speckless. Like they said, it was brand new. They hardly, you know, used it. So that was nice. But yeah, it just basically gives you a little information. And I remember reading this in 3rd grade. That I do remember. And it was with Miss Daniel. I believe that was a teacher. And I read this book and just loved it ever since. So then I started checking it out and rereading it multiple times. And the color, of course, you got the vintage colors, which I'm glad even with this newer print, they still kept with the original drawings and illustrations by Mark Simont. But yeah, so it's like this, and it's basically about a little girl, and it actually starts off, yeah, with a little girl, you know, doing her thing, and then you have a little monster who kind of lost his way and was crying, and she found him, and how she tried to basically keep him as a pet in a way, or a companion, and just the little adventure they go through and what she had to do later on and how she had to keep it away from her parents. So yes, her mama. But it's super cute. As you guys can tell, this is when he was little. Again, this was, yeah, I love to read this book. Something about monsters, which I love, which I'm actually glad that my son loves monsters now, because this was something that was like, oh my gosh, he's getting into monsters like me. And it wasn't the scary kind of monsters. It's like the funny, googly eye, just silly little monsters kind of thing. Okay, I'm getting to the good stuff, okay? This is my 3rd. This goes number 3 of my books of what I love. Now, this was a very close number 2. So my 2 and 3 book is kind of like, they're both like my ultimate best, which is this one right here. It's the retelling basically of The 3 Little Pigs. And this one's called The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs by A. Wolf. This is just him retelling his story. The illustrations in this book is amazing. John Scieszka, if I didn't brutalize the name right here, this is the cover of it. He wrote a great book, and let me tell you, Elaine Smith did an amazing illustration on this as well. This is the back cover. It has like vintage newspaper articles basically pasted on there, and of course it's going to have right here the 3 little pigs, the crime scene, basically the scene of the crime. I thought it was so funny. It really was. But yeah, so in this book, it basically retells what really happened in the 3 Little Pigs before it got retold in other stories, you know, according to the wolf. But the wolf is basically explaining, and he's supposedly a very sophisticated wolf, and he's actually going to each of the little piggies' home because he's trying to ask for sugar. So yeah, so in this illustrations, and here you guys can see, he's going to basically go on his own little adventure of just him trying to get just a cup of sugar. That's all he wanted. And things just got so bad. Things were just getting out of control. And he was basically explaining, you know, why certain things happened in The Three Little Pigs. And of course, you know, how he got to jail or how they took him in. I don't want to tell too much about the story because you guys have to read it, but it is such a funny little story. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of the wording, I don't know, some parents may not care for. Not that it's bad, it's just, I was laughing when I read it. I found the humor in it so much. And I'm going to read one page from it, which is here being him, a little chubby self, and going to the brick house of the little pig. And he basically put, I knocked on the brick house, no answer. I called Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? I don't know why. I was laughing in that one. Just the way he says it, that little porker. I don't know. Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. And this is that page that I just read. It's just little funny, to me, funny little words and just different from your typical child classic, I guess, writings. This has funny little moments of the way the wolf talks. And he's like, oh, well, he's so rude and whatnot. And just, to me, I found it hilarious. When I was younger, I don't know why. I found this kind of stuff really quirky and just hilarious. So, yeah. So this is my number 3. Now, a lot of people is going to know my number 2. You guys probably already heard about this as well. But this was actually a good book. I loved it. And it just showed a lot. Let me just get to it. It's the Miss Nelson is Missing, okay? Do you guys see that? Now, this one I just got. I actually bought this one all over again. It's from both Harry Allard and James Marshall. And yeah. So when I went to this one, actually, I was really intrigued in getting. This one I just recently got with my other order of another book that I found, which was my number 1 pick. I finally found that one. Yeah, so Miss Nelson is Missing. Now, it's about a wonderful teacher teaching her kids, and they're just really, really bad little kids, not listening in class. And at the end, they ended up having a substitute teacher that comes in, puts order in the classroom, and then now they just realize just how great Miss Nelson truly was. And now they have Miss Swamp coming in as a substitute teacher, and they're trying to figure out what happened to Miss Nelson. Where is she? They want her back. So it's basically their little adventure, trying to figure out where she's at, going to the police and trying to find her, as well as just, like I said, their imagination starts rolling. They're starting to think, oh, maybe Miss Swamp did something to Miss Nelson. At the end of the story, you guys are going to see a little twist of events and whatnot. And yeah, I actually loved it. And the ending, I was like, oh my goodness, what? Yeah, it was one of those books. The pictures are great. Again, they have that vintagey colors kind of thing. Because I really loved it. You know, I love that about it. It's an easy read. If your child loves reading, again, I read this probably about, I want to say I was kind of a late starter on this one. I want to say I was like in 4th or 5th grade when I read this book, but it still lingered. Now they have, of course, a sequel to it, and I think there's 2 other books that follow this one. But yeah, my number 2 pick. Now for my very first pick, which, oh my goodness. I gotta get some tea right now. This book, I ended up owning this book. And somehow through all the movings, left, right, you know, moving here and there, I lost the book. And I was devastated. I got this just the other day because I finally found it in a good condition for a very good price on Amazon. I couldn't pass it up. I was like, yes, yes, finally a good condition book. This is exactly what I wanted. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I got it, and I got it in the mail. And the moment I got it in the mail, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to do this video. It's this one. Oh my goodness, Buster Loves Buttons. You guys, this book, I love this book. I really, really do. And I still remember every picture. even all the buttons, the particular buttons that he loved. I just still remember this. It's by Frank Manushkin, illustrated by Dirk Zimmer. I mean, these two people can make a great book. This really lingered with me so much. Now, I know they had a paperback, I believe, and then the hardcover. Yeah, but I remember constantly, this was a book that I constantly rechecked out at the library so many times that I so badly wanted to own it. I don't know how the heck I came to own it, but I ended up owning it. I think my mom ended up getting it for me, but I lost that book and it hurt me. I was like, no. Anywho, let me get started. So this is the entrance. Now this is obviously the only thing with this book, because it is a vintage book. It had a sticker, I took it off, and it was slightly cut here. Other than that, the book is speckless. The hardcover, extra good. Even in the corners and stuff, like, these people really took good care of it. So it doesn't bother me that it's a little cut here. But yeah, it's basically, and you guys can already tell, again, vintagey kind of color, you know. That's basically most of the books that I have, you know. It's basically Buster getting into so many stuff because he loves buttons. He has an absolute obsession of buttons, and he has these big chunky yellow scissors in which he goes and just takes them. He goes to the store and buys buttons, and then he sorts the buttons, and he has a collection of, oh, the sparkly ones, the colorful ones, the, you know, the big ones, the small ones. It's all about his obsession with buttons until he ended up getting, and people were already getting tired. The neighborhood was getting upset with him, and to his demise, finally he met this one girl, and she had a dog that had these beautiful shimmery buttons, and it was glass buttons, and he just never seen something like that. So it's basically his little adventure of what he did to get the buttons and what happened afterwards and his consequences. Yeah, which there was a consequence at the end. And how the neighborhood basically was super mad at him, but then what he did to make it better. Yeah, definitely a great read. If you guys have little children, they might enjoy this book. I did. It's my ultimate favorite. And now that I got it, I am anxious to read it to my little one. I feel like he would definitely at this age, probably more than like, and he's a toddler. He's 3 years old. And I think he would be able to understand it with the pictures, because the pictures go so well with it. And I tend to interact with him. So I'm super excited to read this with him. Well, that concludes all my top 5. I know I was rambling so much with this video, but I just wanted to really talk a lot about it. These were my ultimate childhood books that I absolutely loved. Well, that concludes my video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a like if you guys loved it. Also, comment down below, what was actually your favorite ultimate #1 vintage childhood book that you guys absolutely loved and would love to either own it again, or maybe you guys still own it? Let me know. Also, remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Toodles!